Welcome to my 13 horrifically silly days of Halloween. Today, my guest is Lacey Bakker from Pandamonium Publishing, and she is an author as well. And Lacey, welcome, and please introduce yourself. Tell us about your background.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
And I love Halloween. Okay. So I was so excited when you approached me with this. And we'll get into that, I know, but I just love everything about Halloween. And I'm excited to talk about all of these questions that you have.
Cool.
I am the owner of Pandamonium Publishing House. I started it in 2015. And my background is in publishing children's literature, but also number one is marketing and advertising, which is what I went to school for. Then I branched off into, I think it was consumer neuroscience and neuromarketing first, which was at the University of Copenhagen. And then I did crafting viral and contagious content at Wharton. And then I'm in writing for the sciences right now at Stanford. So it's just a big, scope of things that I'm really interested in. And continuing education is so important because we all know that publishing changes like crazy and so quickly. Yeah, definitely. So
Especially
it's important to stay on top of that. Pardon?
Especially these days, it's just, well, ever since print on demand has come along, pretty much, I feel like, and ebooks, I feel like things have just gone in so many different directions, so many different possibilities, and made small presses possible, like a feasible thing.
And I think the other thing is too, is that it gives kind of the power to the authors now. And it allows them to tell their story. And, I think there's an African proverb that says, the story will always glorify the lion until it's told by the hunter, or the opposite of that. The story will always glorify the hunter until the lion learns to tell its story or learns to write. And, with these big 5 publishers and everything, sometimes it's not possible for them to hire authors that are new, that are unknown. And I think print on demand and small presses are fabulous. Because there are stories that need to be told, right?
Yeah. Everybody deserves the chance to tell their story. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, self-publishing too has become more of a thing as well for authors to do it directly. Yeah. And I've self-published a couple things myself too. So anyway.
Yeah, why not, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Among, Pandemonium Publishing and you being an author, the most specific reason I wanted you on my blog series this year is because of The Adventures of Milan and Friends, a Halloween tale. So please tell me what this picture book is about and when it was published and all that good stuff.
Sure. So it was published in 2016. And it was my second book ever. And it's actually based on inspiration from my real life. My brother has a dog who's a golden retriever whose name is Milan. And I decided to write that book because he's such a character. And I really think that I just wanted to kind of combine those two ideas, the dog and Halloween, which is my favorite, and just give kind of like a story for kids that's fun, that has adventure, that has magic, that has a theme, that is an undercurrent of teamwork. And I think it really came along nicely. Illustrated by the one and only Alex Gubar. And we just really wanted to do something kind of fun and out of the box. And when I was a kid, I always wondered, do animals have their own little lives that they're going off to? When you see like a caterpillar crossing the street, you're like, is he going home? Is it time for dinner? Right?
Yes.
So I've always thought about that. Like, do animals have their own kind of lives that they go into when I was a kid? And, just being able to write children's books in general is so much fun. So why not take that fun and kind of explode it out of this box that we put ourselves in? Right. So that's how The Adventures of Milan and Friends, Trouble with Trolls, a Halloween tale came to be. Right. And it's just animals that go on this adventure, trick-or-treating, but then there's this real problem that stands in their way from getting to the best candy, and they have to deal with it. And it's a troll that lives under a bridge, but he's not who he seems to be. So there's a little bit of that too, which is really, really fun for the readers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And obviously we will not give that away, that little bit, because spoilers.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. No spoilers.
Yeah, none of that, except for, perhaps some of the things that we talk about later that aren't, your faves and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Possible spoilers later. Sure. Okay, so I take it then there are other Milan and Friends books.
There are, yeah. It hit #1 in the bestsellers list. The Adventures of Milan and Friends Baseball Bedlam. So we're really proud of that book.
Cool.
And it's just to the same cast, but they go to this baseball diamond and something happens. And they got to deal with the mess that they've made. So again, no spoilers.
Right.
Yeah.
Read the book, be enticed. And it's the Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller, and it was on #1 for a really long time, which was great. And I didn't expect it. We didn't shoot for that. It was just one of those things that happened, and now we get to keep that title. Right? Once you hit the bestseller list, the top of it, you get to keep the title, which is
right.
Cool.
Nobody takes that away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Well, okay. What made you, going back to Trouble with Trolls,
Sure.
what made you want to write a Halloween themed picture book? Obviously you love Halloween, so I assume that's part of it. And, but, is there more?
To be honest, the reason why I wanted to write this Halloween book was because I had a deadline to finish it I think it was September. And what happened was that I got it done, and then I was like, okay, this is going to be a Halloween book because it's going to come out in October, the end of September, and let's launch it. So this is the perfect time. And that's the honest truth. So yeah.
Well, no, that makes sense. I mean, target marketing, and all that.
Yes, exactly. And that's advertising, that's marketing. And it's one of those things where I was like, this is the perfect time. This is the opportunity. Let's do this now. And I've always wanted to write a Halloween book. So the timing was perfect, and it just kind of serendipitously happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, how about, I wanted to ask you about why you like to write anthropomorphic children's books.
Sure.
For those of you who don't know, that means like things that are not human, behaving like humans, and like animals that can talk and have adventures.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I really like to do that because I find it's very inclusive. I find that kids can always relate to animals. And, there's so many things going on right now in terms of racial issues and injustices and all of the issues that are surrounding kids that they're learning about so early, that I really wanted to focus on kind of the imaginative part of storytelling and the imaginative part of, questioning whether animals have lives, like I mentioned before, or questioning, where do they go? Kind of like Toy Story, when the lights turn off, do they go somewhere else? Do they have clothes? Who are their family members? What adventures are they going on? Because everybody who knows and loves animals know that there's so much more to their personality than they can tell us, because obviously they can't talk to us, but they still are able to communicate in such a way that gets their point across. And that's what I really wanted to do when I write about animals that go on adventures and talk and dress and outfits and things like that, because I feel like that's universal. Everybody understands animals, and we have all thought, I think, that, what do they do when we're gone? Do they miss us? How do they feel? Right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a natural kind of always wanting to know what they were up to.
Right.
So now I get to control what they do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, some writers do claim sometimes the characters take the wheel every once in a while, and it's kind of a surprise as a writer, but generally we're supposed to be in control. The writer.
Yeah, that's very true. I find that more for novel writing, though, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true enough. But I am always happy to interview and speak with other authors, children's authors in particular, that do the anthropomorphic thing, because it is definitely my preference as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
and in the case of, say, race, you
Yes.
don't need to try to represent everyone,
Yes.
every human, so
Definitely.
that they can all see themselves. We can see ourselves through these animal representations,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter what color we are, as the reader, um,
Right.
or other things like religion and frankly, and things like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Definitely. And I think that that's going back to the whole point of being universal.
Hmm.
Um, Animals don't have a race, right? They don't have a religion. They don't have anything that kind of fits them into a specific category. So I find it's very inclusive and very inviting,
Yes.
you know?
And I also find that it does encourage even more imagination, just
Absolutely.
because you're having to suspend the disbelief of, like, these animals can talk or wear clothes or whatever, all the things that they're doing. And I don't myself find that a really difficult step, and I didn't when I was a child either. But it does just encourage more imagination. You take that one step, then it might be easier to imagine more possibilities and crazier
Definitely.
adventures and more fun, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally more fun.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I would like you to tell me about some of your other books, please.
Sure.
Yes.
So I wrote two thrillers under my pen name, LL Calling, because I didn't want kids Googling me and finding my psych thrillers. Okay.
Right. I have that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my own
Yeah.
name for that kind. Yeah.
Pen name. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
changed my name, and I wrote these two thrillers because I just had this character that wouldn't go away. And I didn't know where to place him or what to do with him. But he was kind of like the dad from Taken, and kind of like my own dad. If anything ever happened to me or my sister, like, there would be hell to pay, right?
Hmm.
So I just had this really strong male figure, and I wanted to put him in kind of situations where he would really have to evolve as a person, and maybe it's not the right way of evolution that he was going. And I wrote Obsessed with Her, which was the prequel first, and I released it first. And then I wrote Becoming James Cass, which is this the prequel. So I wrote the sequel first, and then I wrote the prequel after, but I
Oh.
released it the opposite way as well, because I just felt like each book could stand on their own.
Hmm.
And when I was writing Obsessed with Her, I actually had the head of Toronto Homicide consult me
Ooh.
on my crime scenes.
Right.
So that was really cool to make sure that was accurate. The coolest thing that he told me, though,
Yeah.
was that I had to send him a copy of the book, because if a crime ever took place that mimicked what I had created, I
Right.
would be brought in to be questioned. So that was like, okay, this is the
Ooh.
real thing. This is a big time of, like, seeing that there are people out there who will copycat certain things, and that even added it to it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of psych thrillers, mysteries, that kind of thing. Anything with like a human element where you get to see characters unravel.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to do to this character. So yeah, some people will call me a horrible person or a masochist or sadist or whatever, but it's really true of the human condition of, you don't know what you would do until you're in that person's position. So you can't judge them, and we're only one step away of being potential psychopaths. And it really takes a triggering moment for someone to go over the deep end, you know?
Yeah, but it can happen. And
Those are two books that I wrote.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I wanted to show this kind of like really successful doctor who has the perfect family on the outside, but inside he's hiding a gambling debt. He's hiding affairs. He's hiding alcoholism. He's hiding all of these sinister kind of things. But on the outside, everything looks perfect. And I feel that that's a really true thing that happens in today's society. We look at people and we're like, oh man, they've got it all together. Everything's great. Their life is perfect. And then you see them on the news and they've murdered their whole family. Like, you always get the neighbor that's like, yeah, he was a really quiet guy. Didn't, cause any trouble, but
very nice.
Yeah. So that fascinates me about people. Fascinates me.
Well, especially what with social media and the way that you can curate your own life appearance.
It's your highlight reel.
Yeah. So, completely fake it out and to fake other people out, even more so than the serial killers of old in the 70s and whatnot.
Yeah.
We just had to do the old fashioned, I seem normal kind of thing. So
yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? What is normal? And I'm not advocating for, serial killers or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, how do they get to that point?
Yeah.
That's the part that fascinates me. Like, what is the why behind it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I wanted to write a couple books like that, so I did.
Yeah. That's how I like to write too. Just basically because I want to about a particular thing. And I do think that most writers, and especially successful writers, however you define success, will tell you to it's not just what write what but write what you actually want to, what you're passionate about, rather than, some people just try to, force something out because the market seems to want it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
we get that a lot, with submissions and things, because people will be like, oh, this is really hot right now. But here's the thing in publishing: if it's really hot right now, you've already missed the boat.
Yeah.
So it's it's something that you have to take into consideration. But with that whole thing of trends, trends come and go. I mean, look at acid wash. It's back. Is anybody ready for that? No. Right. So, but it's here. So, but everything comes around, the whole Twilight vampire thing. We had Bram Stoker for a whole bunch of years, Anne Rice, all of those guys. And then we had Stephanie Meyer with the Twilight series, and it's just a different take on it. So everything goes in and out of style. So you can't keep up with the trends in writing. It's impossible.
Yeah, no. So just write what you want to and what you're passionate about, because then it'll come through, for the reader.
Yeah. And you know what? That actually brings up a good point, because obviously I've never murdered anyone. So I had to bring in an expert, right? I had to bring in an expert to say, I don't know how to write a crime scene. Can you help me? And that's the thing that I want to encourage writers to do, is bring in the experts. If you don't know something or procedure, find out from an expert, because you will only help your credibility as a writer. As soon as you have a cop read a cop mystery or, a police thriller or anything like that, and you get one thing wrong, your credibility's out the window. You're not going to read another book you've ever written.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really important to do that.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Well, I think you're right there. So now I would like you to expand a little on Pandamonium Publishing itself, if you would. What kinds of books do you publish, and authors and so forth, and all the good stuff, and anything you want to plug right now?
PandamoniumPublishing.com.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do everything from picture books to historical fiction to nonfiction, World War II, thrillers, everything in between. And I think it's important to offer a variety of books to your readers, because there are so many great stories out there that need to be told, but they're not necessarily something that's already been done. you know? So I really want to offer things that are out of the box, things that are different, things that are chaotic. You don't own a company called Pandamonium Publishing House and have things be just, you know, super smooth.
Yeah.
So yeah, just things that are different, things that are, and I know that's such a huge cliche, we're so different. But I really think that where the difference comes in with Pandemonium Publishing House is that we really, really strive to tell stories that are authentic to who the author is, that are authentic to who the characters are, and what their problems are. So even if our kids' books, we explore that a lot. You know, we try to relate to kids in a way that, for example, here's my plug. The Monster Tamer that just came out. It's written by me, illustrated by Alex Scubar. And it is about these two little girls who have this monster under their bed that's showering and they can't get rid of them. So they're at their grandma and grandpa's house and they're like, listen, come upstairs. There's a monster here. And the grandpa's like, I believe you. And he goes up and he sees it. And he hands them this book that is like super old. And he says, I come from a long line of monster tamers. And it's got all the recipes in it to get rid of these monsters that are everywhere, depending on where they are. And yeah, it's just dealing with those kind of issues for kids is entertaining. It's fun, but it also shows them like, okay, you're not alone, but also there's a solution to this.
Yeah.
Right. Same with the Dinosaur Dentist. That's coming out. That's illustrated by Hannah Kemp, written by me. And, you know, we have this dinosaur, Triceratops, that comes in. They have 800 teeth, by the way, or they had 800 teeth.
Yes.
Okay. I did my research. And this Triceratops has a toothache and he goes into the dinosaur dentist, who's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So its arms are like this big and it can't pick things up that it drops. Right. So it's got this assistant. Yeah, it's kind of like this. But she's this Tyrannosaurus Rex doctor, and she's like, okay, there's a family of squirrels in here. There's 15 turkeys. There's a chandelier. There's a, you know, tablecloth. So she gets rid of that. And then she sees like, okay, we're going to have to take this up a notch. There's something growing in here. We need to get the dynamite. So it's just all these crazy kind of like larger than life chaotic things. But in the back, we give toothbrushing tips.
Yes.
Toothbrushing tips. We give tips on, you know, these are the facts for dinosaurs and things like that. Triceratops really did have 800 teeth. So all of these things are meant to educate, but also to inspire and to entertain. So, you know, going to the dentist, that's what you're going to tell your kid, right? Like, let's read the Dinosaur Dentist. Don't worry, you're going to have it way easier. There's no dynamite. There's not a welding thing, right? So, yeah, just have fun with it. I think it's important to write sort of stories that are larger than life, and that's what we want from our authors. So I don't take manuscripts that are boring. I don't take manuscripts that are the same old. And I think that allows us to kind of get to those readers who may be forgotten.
And I will take a moment to plug another Pandamonium picture book, which by the time this is out, will have had its launch party along with Sloth the Lazy Dragon. And that's Mary Murr, the Christmas bat. There's my shirt. Woo! Christmas bat. So yeah, wrong holiday. But for the 13 horrifically silly days of Halloween, but it's a bat. So, you know, that's, I figure that works. And yeah.
Bats are synonymous with that.
They are. It's just that Murr's more of a Christmas bat in this case. So yeah, that'll be out by the time this airs.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, yes, and I'm excited about that. It's being republished actually, because those of you out there might be some of you out there who like, I already have a copy of Mary Murr the Christmas Bat. How is it coming out? You know, just in October. And no, it's being republished. It's brand spanking new, and you know, it's has some improvement tweaks to it and good stuff like that. So anyway, and unfortunately the other publisher went under. COVID killed a publisher, and that's sucks very much, but I'm so super happy that Pandemonium liked Murr and was willing to take that on and give it new life.
And I'm so glad that you approached us and, sent us in your work, because this is a totally different Christmas story. And I love that because it's so different, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we want. So yeah, I think that it's going to be really well received and really well done. And I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Because at this point that we're talking, we're just about to go and do the tweaks that and get it ready basically. So we're doing this interview a few months in advance. Yeah, but it's out now. uh, all right. Getting back to Pandemonium in general.
Sure.
How do you feel about publishing genre, whether it's for adults or kids? Genre, any of the genres, really.
As a reader, let's start with that. I like to read in multi genres.
Okay.
I like to read whatever I can get my hands on, to be honest. Reading is my job, so I have to do it all day, every day. But when I really sit down to enjoy something that isn't work, I will read everything from cozy romance, which is my guilty pleasure because they're so bad, and in my opinion, and I'll read horror or thrillers or murder mysteries. I read a ton of kids books. I've got nieces and nephews that are toddlers, so
Yeah.
that's our thing. But publishing genres, I'm not very specific. Of course, you're going to get to me if your novel is a thriller or a horror book, because I love reading in that space. But I also published a book called Once Upon a Vision, and it was this beautiful, charming story about this woman who goes back to Savannah, where she's born, and unravels a mystery for a family. Like, there's no way to kind of narrow down what I like the most, because everything is so different. So in publishing genres, I would just say that we're just trying to, one space we're trying to expand is our middle grade novels. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for middle grade novel submissions and things like that, because we find that that space kind of gets neglected. So we have kids, and then we've got, adults and maybe some YA, but nothing kind of in between. So I'm going to be honest, I haven't read a ton of books in that genre or that space for a very long time, because it's just something that I'm not focused on, but I need to be. So I think a variety of things is great, but then when you see your lineup, you're kind of aware of where the holes are.
Right.
And that's where ours are. So
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, speaking of that, a little bit different here, but do you have any horror, honest to goodness horror books on offer?
We don't.
Yeah. Okay.
We want some.
So you would like to sign some horror,
yes,
horror genre authors in particular?
Absolutely, definitely. Anything that we can kind of offer to our readers, the more selection, the better, because our biggest point is literacy. And literacy matters the most to us. That's why we write so many books for kids, because we want to start that love of literacy very young and ignite that for the rest of their lives. So focusing on the holes that we have so that we can fulfill our readers' wants and needs is really important. So yeah, we want some horror writers for sure. Right. Send them my way.
Cool. How about horror comedy? That's a weird one.
Absolutely. Definitely. That is a really interesting genre. And, I was racking my brain trying to think of like horror comedy movies. But some of the horror comedy movies that I've thought of are maybe funny to me and they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So
it's a taste. Oh yes, absolutely. And I would definitely say they're out there, and there's a broad range where people will find some, that's a horror comedy, or no, that should be a horror, or and others that are like, no, that's more of a B movie or something. It's very difficult to define, which I like personally. It leaves things broad and open.
Yeah.
Make your own
for sure.
And we'll get to that very shortly, actually. Right now. Why not? We'll turn to my typical 13 horrifically silly days of Halloween questions, if that's cool for you. Unless there's anything
Yeah,
else you wanted
definitely.
to tell me about Pandemonium or anything that you have coming out soon,
Sure.
last chance to plug.
Yeah, so well, we have a 37-foot tour bus that we are traveling across Canada and the United States for over the next 5 years, promoting our brand and promoting our business. And we've got a whole bunch of books coming out. By the time this airs, we'll probably have all of them published for the rest of the year. So I'm just looking at my lineup here that I've got on my whiteboard, and we have 9 new books coming out in October.
Wow,
So
that's
we're
awesome.
busy. But we really are very excited for the growth of Pandemonium. And I started this company with 1 book and 1 author. And now we have a stable of authors, stable of illustrators, graphic designers, marketing, all of this stuff, because we just love what we do. And we're so lucky to be able to do it all the time. So that's what I have to say about Pandamonium Publishing House. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing stories to life.
Pandemonium is spelled panda, like panda bear, not
Yes.
pandemonium, like not like the word. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody
Yes.
who's doing a quick Google search or anything like that. Yeah, that's the spelling, and that's based on is Panda the cat.
Yes. So my very first book was called Panda the Very Bad Cat, based on our real cat named Panda.
Hmm.
It was very bad in real life. And I just started with that. And I thought, you know what? I love chaos. I love the fact that nothing is how it's supposed to go. So you just go
Yeah,
with the
or it's
flow,
so you think anyway.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you think. And then I just came up with this book, and I wrote it and I self-published it. It was my bestseller, 5,000 copies in 3 months. It went out the door like crazy.
Wow.
And it was just a really fun book. And then we have the series that continues. So Christmas Claus, which is Panda, the second one, and then the third one is Panda's Farm Frenzy. So
Mhm.
yeah, but that's why I started the company. To be honest, I had 1 book and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn how to do it so that I can better serve our clients who want to self-publish. So now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
That's the honest truth. Yeah.
very cool. Very cool. So Pandemonium like helps people self-publish, that you offer
Yeah.
those services, but you're also a traditional publisher
Traditional.
as well.
Yeah. Traditional first,
Yep.
then we help self-publish authors, then we do hybrid deals. So sometimes the author will want a little bit more say, they'll want a little bit more creative freedom, they'll want a little bit more control of their project. So
Hmm.
we offer kind of a hybrid split. So that happens as well. And we just want to have a bunch of options for people, because there's so many stories that need to be told that can't, for maybe scheduling reasons, maybe the lineup is full for the next 5 years, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
we want to be available and accessible to everybody.
awesome.